Hey, Ernie from Kitchen Tumblers here. Thank you so much for tuning into my videos. I really appreciate the support. Thanks for all the messages and the video requests. And also thank you so much for leaving comments and liking my videos. Don't forget to subscribe and share this video if it helps you in any way. Anyway, today let's go ahead and get started with this Peppermint Striped Tumbler. Stay tuned. Our white glitter will be Opal Majesty by Peachy Olive Glitters, and the red will be Scarlet by Zindee Studios. Alright, so no Mod Podge or Mod Podge today, guys. We are doing the epoxy method for the whole tumbler, and I'm mixing up 10 total mLs of epoxy, so 5 part A, 5 part B, and you don't need to mix this much, but I'm mixing this much just to make sure that I do have enough, and whatever I have left over, I have mold set aside. So of course you're going to stir well until it's clear, about 3 minutes, making sure that you let it sit for a little bit to let some of the bubbles subside, and then you're going to apply it to your spinning prep tumbler that I have prepped and spray painted white and allowed to dry to prepare for application. Here we're going to apply our thin layer of epoxy and just smooth it all over the tumbler. Then you're going to let it spin for a little bit. Once you let it spin for a little bit, then you can use a lighter or a blowtorch to pop out any bubbles that rise to the surface. I'm using a lighter because I cannot find my blowtorch. We are liberally applying our glitter all over the tumbler. I like to pretty much shake out my whole bottle of glitter onto the surface of the tumbler, and you are not going to be wasting glitter. You're basically just assuring coverage, and I like to do it over and over and over and over again, only because I know that the epoxy is going to capture every bit of glitter that I pour on there, and it's going to get every crevice, every single piece. So I like to just apply my glitter very liberally all over it when I'm using the epoxy method. Then of course you catch all your glitter and you put it right back into your shaker, and you'll see you really don't use a lot of glitter when you do it that way, and to me it offers just an awesome coverage. We're letting it dry for 4 hours. No need to spray with the sealant since this is all one color. We're ready to apply our thick coat, or our first layer of epoxy, you know what I'm trying to say, and make it a nice good thick coat. So on this part I am using Pro Marine. Like I've said before in my other videos, I love Pro Marine because I feel like it is a nice thick epoxy. I don't have any trouble with it. I know a lot of people do. It could just depend on, you know, your environment or where you are, but here it works very well for me. But I'm not, you know, against other epoxies. I use art resin, I use faux Rizzle, which is another thick epoxy that I love. I use Alumilite. So I use many different types of epoxy, but here I'm going to use Pro Marine for my thick coat of epoxy. we're going to let this cure for about 12 hours. You can stop the spinning if you need to in about 4 hours. Here I'm going to map out my stripes. So the blue 1-inch painter's tape, I want you to visualize as the red stripes in the tumbler. So I'm going to map out my red stripes using the blue painter's tape. Then you'll see later on that I am going to black out the white stripes with my black electrical tape, and then peel back my blue, because that is where the red glitter is going to be. So I'm not going to say much here. I'm just going to let you watch the process and see what I'm talking about. So now I'm going to use art resin to apply the epoxy for the epoxy method for my red stripes. Art resin is also what I use in the beginning to apply the white glitter. When you apply your red stripes, you want to make sure you do them one at a time, because you don't want to get any overspread with your epoxy onto the other side. And this time you want to really make sure you're doing a good thin layer on each stripe, and then you'll apply your glitter, go to the next stripe, and keep going. And then once you've got all your stripes covered, you can go back and reapply the glitter back on top to make sure that you have excellent coverage. Once you've brushed off some of your excess, let your tumbler spin for about 30 minutes to make sure that everything sets into place. Now come back and peel off the black electrical tape. And you'll see you have a nice, crisp, clean line. If you see any spillover with your glitter onto the white, just get a baby wipe and you can use that to clean it right off. You're going to let it dry for about 12 or more hours, and then you'll be ready to seal after it's dried. After sealing, make sure that you allow the sealant to dry for about an hour. Now we're going to mix up our final coat of epoxy if you're not going to put anything on the tumbler after this. I'm mixing about 40 mLs total, so 20 part A, 20 part B of my Promarine epoxy. Now we're going to apply our last coat of epoxy, making sure to give a good full coverage and a nice thick layer, allowing it to spin for a little bit and then popping out any surfaced bubbles. And that's it. If you like this video, don't forget to give it a thumbs up and share it with friends, and we'll see you next time. Bye.